I'm not sure how much experience you have with 3DR, so if some of these things are redundant, I apologize up front for any possible insults. I'm going to start Mission Planner. Just for kicks and grins, I'm going to make sure I can talk to it. I've used this one several times. Oh, it doesn't look right. COM3 should be saying Pixhawk. So I expect to have a problem here. Actually it still worked. Now you cannot upload firmware while connected. So you have to disconnect and have it on the correct COM port and then go into initial firmware. Get the list. This is my rover. 245. We'll just go ahead and reload it. Okay, fine. Let's make out like it's a Ardu plane. We'll program it as that. Erasing the EEPROM. I don't like to do that much. The EEPROM inside of it will only have about 100 times that you can erase and reprogram it. Nobody tells you that. Just years in electronics tells me that. But it's currently programming Ardu plane, Ardu, APM plane into the Pixhawk. Wish I could sing. I'd entertain you while this is doing its thing. Be happy to help you with everything I can. If you have a way to make videos or explain what steps you've gone through and where you found failures. Almost through programming. Then it'll have to come back through and verify. No big deal. Now there's all sorts of tones you have to wait for. I just generally wait until I hear no tones for a while, because I don't know how many there's supposed to be. So now it's programmed as Ardu plane 3.03. Come back up here. I know it's on COM3. Connect to it. Yeah, that's what I expected. Also, because of reboot, you frequently have to unplug the USB at this point and plug it back in and then go again. I'm in a COM port that's bad on my computer. Let me switch COM ports. That board doesn't work good all the time. I can tell by the sound of the computer that it's connecting and disconnecting. Okay, we'll try this again. There we go. We're up and ready to go. Still doesn't look right. They connected. So now I am set up as an aircraft. I can tell because of the dual compass possibilities, certain actions in here, and also by the long list of functions that are a part of the airplane and not part of the rover. So let's program it again as a rover. So I will need to disconnect, and I really want to reset it again, so I will disconnect from the computer and then reconnect to the computer, which gives the hard reset to the Pixhawk. And then I know it's on COM 3, so then I'll go back to initial setup and I'll reprogram it as my rover. Connecting, identifying serial number, erasing the EEPROM again. That's programming the EEPROM again. I would dance, but you can't tell that with audio only. Sorry about these moments of wasted time. Almost there. And it verifies, and then we have our tones again. Again, not knowing what all they should be, I just wait a few minutes. Otherwise, and now again, some bug here I haven't chased down completely. I disconnect the USB and I reconnect the USB, giving it a hard reset. I only have it plugged into the USB right now, by the way. Okay, I don't like the way this is doing right now, but we'll look at that in a second. But go ahead and put it on COM 3. And boom, there we are. You have to be technically disconnected right up here when you upload firmware. Like it says here, you cannot load new firmware while connected via Mavlink, which means connected right here via Mavlink, no matter whether it is USB or through the telemetry radio. You can't actually program through the telemetry radio anyway, so that doesn't matter much. Please press the disconnect button on the top right to end the current Mavlink session and enable firmware loading screen. And when you disconnect, that's when you get your screen. But again, no, I'm ready. Oops. And you see what's happening right now is it needs that hard reset of connecting and disconnecting the USB, because the Pixhawk does some reboots after it firmware. Anything's done with the firmware, it actually reboots. Now see, after unplugging the USB and plugging it back in at this point, bam, right back. Now we're back into rover. The rover actually doesn't have an accelerometer calibration, it does its own, and you can see it's lining up right now. Lines itself, and it is slightly at a tilt on the desk. There we go. That's actually level on the desk because I've got the top off. But you actually have to come in here because I do have the Pixhawk mounted upside down. I have to go in here and tell it to roll 180. That'd be an 8. Roll 180, please. Write the parameters, and now we'll go back over here, and it should start figuring out that it needs to recalibrate the accelerometers. And there she goes. She's figuring it out. Now on the copter or the airplane mode, you will have a calibrate. I'm tired of hearing that. Let me just turn off speech. But on the rover, it will calibrate its own accelerometers. Like I say, in initial setup, see, for a rover, there's no accelerometer calibration at all. Now if I disconnect, unplug the USB, replug the USB so I get a hard reset. Usually can't get to the reset buttons on the Pixhawk, and I've not tried actually pushing them to get a reset. There we go. Now she's up. Install firmware. If I do install the aircraft software, let's say, that's about 3 out of 100 possible erases I've just done. That's okay. I'm not going to erase and reprogram this Pixhawk 100 times in my life, probably. And that's just a general rule of thumb in electronics. An electrically erasable, programmable read-only memory can only be electrically erased and reprogrammed about 100 times before that function begins to fail. Now then, at the end of this programming, we'll get our little bells and whistles. Come on. I can't dance, I can't sing. Sorry, man. And here comes our little tones. Okay, I think that's all of them. Now I know from experience I cannot connect right now unless I unplug the USB, plug it back in, okay, and now we can see if we go to initial setup. Oops, we have to connect. We don't want to install firmware, we have to actually connect now. Fine. Oops, it's not showing. That happens a lot with the booting and rebooting. Let me see if just a restart of Mission Planner will fix that. Sometimes it does. I already got some strangeness here anyway, because this COM3 doesn't actually show me as PX. Nope. So I will pull out the USB again. Oh, it wasn't all the way in. No wonder. It fell out. Okay, there we go. Okay. For kicks and grins, I'm just going to close this, open this back up. Quick, I'm going to go in here, go into my device list, go into my COM ports, and you can see that Pixhawk is set on COM3. I know that to be normal. And you can come in here and you can come into advanced, and you can actually change that COM port if there's some kind of conflict. I got a phone call coming in for some support from some other people, so real quick I am going to go back in here and there it is, showing the PX4 on COM3. I knew it was. And there we go, we're connecting. Boom, boom, connected. Now you can see that when it's programmed as a aircraft, it has to have accelerometer calibration. I'll let you smoke that over and let me know what works, what doesn't work, and if there's any further help I can be to you. Have a good one.